Welcome back to the A3A Podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Walter.
I'm Justin.
And we got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to jump right into it with the NFL.
Yeah, I'm thinking we do some mid-season awards.
Ooh.
All right, where do you want to start?
Let's start with Rookie of the Year.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Justin, you go first. You're chomping at the bit, I could tell.
Yeah, I feel like it might be a unanimous vote.
Yeah,
Daniels.
Yeah, this one's pretty obvious. Yeah, this one's pretty obvious.
I figured. He's been playing great most of the year. Like he had that stretch in the beginning part of the year where I forgot exactly what it was, but it might have been like he had more touchdown drives or scoring drives than like incompletions or some crazy stat like that. He's playing really well. He's got the Commanders in position to possibly win the division. I know the Eagles are ahead of them right now, but at least be in contention for a playoff spot. So he's just playing really well for a rookie for sure. I feel like it's a clear-cut decision with the Rookie of the Year one.
Yeah, at this point, he's completing almost 70% of his passes. He's got well over 2,000 yards passing already, 9 touchdowns, only 2 turnovers. I think he might have a couple fumbles, but only two interceptions. So, he almost has 500 yards rushing too. So he could be ending with close to 1,000 yards rushing too if it keeps on pace.
Wow,
which I'm pretty sure is almost on par with Lamar. Lamar has 538 rushing yards. So
yeah. The easy comparison is like him and Lamar, just based on their running play style and everything. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Daniels might have like a better arm. I'm not as like confident in Lamar like throwing sometimes with like his accuracy or like his deep ball, but Daniels has a beautiful deep ball.
Yeah.
Up there.
We saw that on the Hail Mary, right? That was crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. Yeah, so a few other things going on during that play, like the Bears player not paying attention and talking. But we still had Daniels' arm strength to show for it too.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they're off to a 7-3 start, which they were going to be tied for last in the NFC East before coming in, and now they have seemingly taken it over, and the Eagles and Cowboys are pretty much just going to hand it to them.
Well, I mean, the Eagles, I think, what are they at, 7-2 right now?
Yeah.
That everyone thinks they are, at least record-wise. But they play this Thursday coming up.
I think the opposite. I think they're a little bit worse than everybody. Like, I know everyone has been down on the Eagles, but I don't think they're as good as the record.
I may have misspoke with what I said, but I agree with
you.
you that.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell I said, but the record is better than what people think of them. People think they're bad. That's what I'm getting at. There we go. Okay.
There you go. You got it out. You got it
out. Anyway, okay. Unanimous with Jaden Daniels for Rookie of the Year?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That one was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Offensive Player of the Year?
All right. I'll start with this one then, too. So I was between a few guys. I want to give like Joe Burrow some love, even though they're not winning. He had 5 touchdowns against the Ravens, and they still lost, which compared to Goff's 5 interceptions and a win is crazy. And then I looked at some of Jamar Chase's stats, and he was balling out too, even though he had a somewhat slow start to the season. But I think the guy has to be Derrick Henry.
I have Derrick Henry as well.
Oh,
I think. Right. Don't wait. Do we all have Derrick Henry?
That's what I was going to say.
It was not planned beforehand, right?
No, it was not.
Yeah, but like he's already at I think 1,100 yards in 10 games.
So, 1,120.
Yeah, he could be getting close to 2,000 with how they're playing. And I want to say he has 12 touchdowns already. Like I just looked at
he's
like 150 touchdowns at least.
12 rushing touchdowns, which is first in the NFL. 1,120 rush yards, which is also first in the NFL. And he also has the most carries in the NFL with 184.
Wow. Jeez.
And this is all coming from, if you remember last year, a lot of people were saying like, oh no, he's cooked. This is the time for running backs. Like he's done with. And I mean, to me, he was a clear-cut favorite for Offensive Player of the Year, at least halfway through the year. I mean, you take him out, I'm not sure how many more games they win because him and Lamar complement each other very well.
Yeah, and like regardless of like the age thing with Henry and how many miles he has on him, that is the big X factor, right? Where you have to be conscious of Lamar running, but you also have Derrick Henry back there. Two different styles of runners.
I was gonna say two very, very different.
Yeah, but you got to be aware of both of them, right?
Yeah.
And I said it coming into the season. I think he is a huge upgrade for them and will make a huge difference. And they're, I don't think they're in first place in the AFC North, but they're close to it. And I don't know. I feel like, especially as the season goes on and we get to that point where, you got to run the ball to win these games. It's going to make a huge difference for them because they have routinely had issues closing out games, and he'll, hopefully be able to ice the clock, or not ice the clock, but bleed some time out.
Yeah, I don't even think it's about bleeding timeout. I just think it gets to a point in a game like at some point you're not going to want to tackle that dude anymore.
You're not going to take that abuse.
Yeah, like if you're tackling Lamar, 20, 30 times a game, okay, whatever. But Derrick Henry is going to just exhaust you, especially when it's at the end of the season. Everybody's banged up and hurt. Last person you want to be running through your face, or what does Marshawn Lynch say? Run through a motherfucking face.
Motherfucking face.
that's the last guy you want to have running at you. So I'd say they're probably Super Bowl favorites as well right now. I honestly think because of Derrick Henry. Yeah. I don't think any other team kind of has that like run game or running back where it's like, oh shit, like we're in trouble.
Well, I think, and this might just be recency bias just based on how he's played. Like last game I saw him, Joe Mixon. I feel like he's kind of getting a little underrated this year. If I remember correctly, he had a stat where so something like he's the only player to rush for 100 yards in his first 7 games with the 7 games with the team, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean, like I think he is definitely underrated and a big part of why the Texans have been successful. But I would give Henry the leg over Mixon. Just in terms of
Derrick Henry is just like he's playing like it's his 3rd year.
Yeah.
That's
it doesn't look like he still has that same burst, he still has that same long play ability and the ability to just throw dudes off of him. Like he's a monster.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, anything on Derrick Henry?
Not too much. I mean, even if you succeed in bringing him down, you might see a full moon. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. You don't even want to take him down for that risk.
All right, moving on. Defensive Player of the Year. This is where I think we're going to vary.
Yeah, this was a little tough. Because there's no like clear-cut favorite as of right now.
Can I tell you how I went about it?
Sure.
So I kind of was going for a guy that was on a unit that was making a big difference for his team. So like I didn't go with like a team that only has 2 wins. Like for example, Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go with him because I think it's so close on who it could be. And it's not really a clear cut that I just was like, okay, well, who's doing all this and still winning? So do you want to go first?
Well, since you
all right,
thought process, go ahead.
So I went with Nick Bolton, Chiefs linebacker.
Nick Bolton. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got 42 solo tackles, 20 assisted tackles, and 8 tackles for loss with a sack.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that is top 3 in solo tackles. I could be wrong, but I think it's top 3. And nobody really had like a wide variety of statistics, right? So like obviously he's a run stopper. He's not like he only had 3 pass breakups or something like that. So there's different type of linebackers. But for me, he's on probably one of the most important defensive units in football right now, which is the Chiefs, because they wouldn't be surviving without them.
No, they would not.
I think they lose anybody on that defense. That's going to be bad news right now. So for that reason, that's why I went with Nick Bolton. I mean, it was a clear standout, especially with 42 solo tackles. I mean, that's on pace to have 84 solo tackles by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's why I went with him.
All right. I like it. That's not who I have or who I thought of, but that you bring up a great point with how, like, the Chiefs this year, they are not relying on their offense at all. Pat Mahomes really isn't. They're winning games, but it's not because of him. It's because of the defense.
Right.
And I think he might be historically Chris Jones has been the guy there to kind of just be the core of the defense. But I think Nick Bolton, based on kind of what you laid out, he's kind of taken over that role and being.
Yeah, Chris Jones only has about, I think, anywhere from like 15 to 19 tackles on the year.
Yeah,
so
something.
And
I did look it up.
only 3 sacks.
Yeah, I had thought about him for my pick, and those they weren't really there, the stats at least. But I like your pick of Nick Bolton. For my guy, I looked at a few different guys just and kind of compared their stats. I thought of Fred Warner because he's always causing turnovers and he's a tackle machine. I looked at Nick Bosa, which he's not really getting a ton of sacks, at least so far this year. I thought of Trey Hendrickson because he currently leads the league.
11 sacks.
11 sacks, yep. But I this might just be chalk, but I'm going to go with TJ Watt because I think you can kind of say what you said about the Chiefs and their defense helping them win games. I think you could say the same about the Steelers, especially early on in the season with their defense winning those games. So especially with like Justin Fields, they weren't scoring 20 points a game when he was playing. So they really needed the defense to step up and kind of carry them. And TJ Watt is right at the center of that. So he's not like crazy statistic wise. So 24 total tackles, 6.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, which is that's tied for first. That's really good. But yeah, I think it's somewhat of a safe bet to go with like the core of a really good defense that wins games. So TJ Watt.
Nick.
Yeah, TJ Watt's a good pick. I kind of was thinking in that direction. I was considering Dexter Lawrence, but Walter, you made a good point about how defensive player of the year for me, stats are important, but also contributing to the team's success is kind of the ultimate factor. This one might be off the board, but I'm actually sticking in line with the Washington. We're talking about Jaden Daniels. I know their offense is what's propelling them right now, but I'm going to go with Dante Fowler Jr. right now. Only because I feel like without some of his defensive play recently, so the Washington's offense is not what it was back in September. They've scored few games. It's 28, 27, 18. But in those games, they're 2 out of 3, and one of them against the Steelers, they only lost by 1 point because they're keeping their opponent's score down. I'm sure they played the Bears, Giants, and Steelers, but regardless, they're still succeeding. He obviously leads his team in sacks, and I think that's just contributing to Washington's success, which, I mean, everyone pegged that team to be horrible.
Yeah.
So
I don't think anyone would have picked them to be very good.
No, not where they are right now.
But that is kind of a good sleeper pick, though. I honestly, he wasn't even on my radar.
No, me either. And he's been a guy who's kind of bounced around the past few years. So and he's definitely been a big part of their defense and their success. So I like the pick too. Definitely a good sleeper pick.
A guy I was bouncing around was Xavier McKinney.
Ooh, I thought of him too. Yeah,
Packers safety because he has 6 interceptions. And I decided against it because he's actually tied with somebody with 6 interceptions. I'm not sure who it is, but he's tied. So that's kind of why I just went another direction with that. And also all of his other stats are really very mediocre at best. Not a lot of tackles or anything. So
he's tied with, I don't even know, Kirby Joseph for the Lions. They both have 6.
Oh. Damn.
I'm not gonna lie, didn't know who the hell he was until I just looked him up.
I'm trying to think. I don't even think I know who he is.
Yeah. I feel like the Lions defense has a lot of guys that you're just like, who the hell is that? There's not a lot of like well-known names.
Well, I'll say prior to injury, I think defensive player of the year would have been a very easy pick.
I agree. Yeah.
Prior,
Yeah, it would have been Aiden Hutchinson for sure.
Yeah. Moving on. MVP.
I wonder if this is another unanimous one for us.
This could be.
I was going to say Lamar.
I am also on Lamar train.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah. I'm kind of flipping back. Depends how you define MVP. MVP of the entire league or MVP in terms of they're making the difference for their team?
Entire league.
Entire league.
But that's what I feel like the award is boiled down to recently. It's like, okay, it's going to be a quarterback because they're like technically the most valuable player to their team, but not necessarily to the league. So last year, Lamar, he had a decent year. He threw for only 24 touchdowns, which he already met this year, not in a full season.
Not to mention, yardage wise, the only person he's behind right now is Joe Burrow.
Right? Exactly. And then rushing yards,
538.
Well, right now, but he had 821 last year, so he's probably going to surpass that. I at least last year, I think it should have been McCaffrey with just how much he impacted the offense. And you can see this year without him, they're kind of struggling. So I kind of hate the MVP discussion, like in the NFL. It's just always going to go to a quarterback.
It's the Heisman discussion. It's the Heisman discussion.
It absolutely is. It's partially about narrative too, right? Like I think the Ravens, they were number one seed for the first time with Lamar, so okay, give it to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would pick him just because he's already on pace to do better than all of his stats from last year in terms of passing and rushing.
Why I'm picking Lamar is because 24 touchdowns to 2 interceptions is a wild stat line.
It's very good.
Yeah. But also they brought in Derrick Henry to take a little bit off of Lamar, and he ends up doing more. I mean, so not only did he like obviously he was going to get a lot less touches, carries, and he's going to be relied on a lot less because of Derrick Henry, but he has still, despite the lower workload, has just put up crazy stats. So
yeah,
I think it was an easy answer. I mean, I don't think Mahomes is even in the top 5 conversation right now.
We've talked about it week to week. I think he's probably still like among the betting favorites, but he should not be. He really shouldn't.
No, he should not even be remotely close to it.
Yeah.
And honestly, some defensive players should probably get the recognition before he does.
There was one year. I hate that it never goes to anyone but a quarterback. But there was that one year with J.J. Watt where
should have been J.J. Watt.
He had like 20 something sacks. I think he caught 2 touchdowns on offense. Like the dude was just unbelievable. And they just don't give it to anyone but a quarterback unless like you rush for like 2,000 yards like Adrian Peterson did that one year. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that. Nick, you did bring up kind of a good point though. Is like the MVP race being like, is it overall league or is it like most valuable to your team? But at the same time, I think if you take either Lamar or Derrick Henry out of that offense, I think it crumbles either way.
It falls apart.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think it's very rare to have like to be able to say that for a team. It was like you have 2 guys that can one pulled plug and it could just go haywire.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and side note really quick.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Ravens, wouldn't it kill to have a just star wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean they really. When's the last time they had a really good receiver? Is it Steve Smith?
Steve Smith, and I'm telling you right now, we're in the years of like, okay, just trade all of your picks and go win a Super Bowl. They are so damn close. I would throw picks at somebody to get a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if they were like trying to get in on D-Hop or even Mike Williams, but yeah, I do think Zay Flowers is a very good wide receiver. I don't know if he's a good wide receiver 1.
No, he's not.
But I do think that they
imagine if they had an electric wide receiver like Jefferson or Chase or someone like that. I mean, that'd be total wraps. I just give him the Lombardi Trophy now, in my opinion.
Yeah. For I mean, it wasn't like an electric player, but for a while, Mark Andrews was that guy for Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Him and Mark Andrews were the whole offense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. If they were able to get, but Yes, it would help, but I mean, it would help every team too. But it's just not their bread and butter. The pass game is to supplement the run game. It's not.
But not everybody in the league though is in the position the Ravens are.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, like the Ravens are already there, and then just to add one more piece on top of it, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much our mid-season awards. There's not too many games I want to talk about. However, I'm going to start with this because I sat here. It was either week 3 or week 4. I told you guys the Giants were going to lose to the Panthers in Germany. Right? Yeah. And Justin, what did I tell you last week when we were making our picks?
What'd you tell me, Walt?
I told you that the Giants are going to lose to the Panthers because the Panthers are not the worst team in the league. It's the Giants that are the worst team in the league.
And they proved you right.
And they did prove me right. And apparently in a pretty embarrassing fashion, too, with a fumble by probably the one guy that's actually been playing half good. But obviously, we're not going to have this conversation again. But Daniel Jones just sucks. That's got to be a fucking wash. This has got to be it.
This may be like the longest that anyone has been able to start without like getting cut or like getting traded or something. Like he's had 70 plus starts where with each one.
Dog, it took Anthony Richardson how long to get benched?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like we were so out so quickly on these quarterbacks. But with Daniel Jones, it's always just like, I mean, maybe he had a good throw. You know, like they always that one thing. It's crazy.
And I saw a video online. It was pointing out like a bunch of mistakes by other guys, and it was like it's not the quarterback. And I'm like, fuck you, it's the fucking quarterback. Yeah. That game, and then the Lions game I wanted to talk about.
Okay, I didn't get to watch the end of it, but I did watch a good portion.
Well, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions,
knew that.
And they still somehow won the fucking game. That's just crazy. I actually fell asleep for the middle of the game, like between the second and the middle of the third quarter. And then I saw the beginning and the end. I woke up and one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, he's got 5 picks today." I'm like, "Huh? 5?
Wax out of yours."
Yeah, how does that even happen? 5 times, dude? And
even from like the only guy I can think of that had 5 picks. Oh, shit, I forgot his name. He played for the Bills. Remember, he got, or Tyler Taylor got benched. Oh, Nathan Peterman.
Nathan Peterman. Yeah,
he had 5 picks in like the first game that he played, but that was just in the first half. I think he did that.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's not very common to have that happen, and a guy that's regarded as probably a top 10 quarterback in the NFL did it.
What's less common is to beat a very good football team in spite of that.
Yeah,
like it's not like they were playing just anyone. It's not like they were playing the Giants. They were playing the Texans.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns against the Ravens, and still lost. And then Goff does the opposite and wins.
I don't know how, and even like you said, Aiden Hutchinson out, their defense is still playing very well. I mean, I talk about the Ravens being a clear cut, but seems like the Lions got something to them, man. Like some kind of edge to them. Yeah, it's definitely Dan Campbell though.
Oh yeah. He loves to bite those kneecaps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But with that, like sometimes like to win the Super Bowl, you just need that. You just need that luck on your side. And this is kind of a obviously they stay in it with the defense and everything, but this is kind of just a lucky game where you don't play your best, but you still come out on top. Right? Yeah,
basically.
But I think at least in my time watching this, one thing that I keep coming back to with the Texans is they just can't finish drives. They get into the red zone, they get close, and then the offense just sputters from there.
They need a red zone threat. I think that's the big.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is like they're dropping their weapons are getting hurt. Like right. I don't think Nico Collins is back at him.
I mean, but things weren't really moving too well either with them. So I think even before that, something is missing, and it's just a very small something that they just need to plug and play.
Yeah, and I don't doubt their ability to kind of right the ship with this, but it's been recurrent for a majority of the season where like you expect this offense to just be guns blazing, play awesome, and they just really don't put up the numbers that you quite think that they can.
And then when the defense needs to bail them out, they don't. They just don't.
The defense is pretty well, and in this game, I don't think that the Texans had Willie Anderson, which was someone else who I at least thought to look up
for defensive player. Yeah,
you're right. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just there's something missing with the Texans right now.
It's obviously just a red zone threat. I mean, I don't think the run game is terrible.
No, they got Joe Mixon, like I said.
Yeah, so it's not quite that. It's a tight end or a bigger receiver that can just get downfield and you could throw one up to and pretty much trust that he's going to come down with it pretty much every time.
Their tight ends are Dalton Schultz and Cade Stover, aka Farmer Gronk. Go Bucks! That was his influence on Ohio State. So yeah, I mean, like they do have the weapons. I think it's once Nico Collins comes back, I think that'll be a big help. But I don't know.
I wonder what their play calling is like in that area. Mm-hmm. I might have to look that up, see kind of what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patriots won.
Big dub, baby. Yes. Yeah, the big takeaway from this game isn't I'm happy the Patriots won, but my biggest takeaway was just the Bears suck. Like they're bad. Okay.
They're bad, but they're not the worst team in the league.
Right. I'm used to
don't. You've already tried this argument with the Panthers.
You're right.
You've already tried this.
Okay. It's one of the worst. But yeah, like I watch bad football on a weekly basis with the Pats, right? Like that Patriots Titans game a couple weeks ago, that was just painful to watch. And there's been so many games. I think I brought it up in the pod where it's like, oh, were you exposed to Patriots versus Titans? You maybe you can get some compensation for it.
Eligible for compensation.
Yeah. So with the Bears, they are so fucking bad. Patriots had 9 sacks.
Bro, Caleb Williams just stands there and watches the rush come.
Yep.
He just stands there.
To be fair, there is some injuries on their offensive line, but
I get that, but maybe get to moving.
There were some where he just holds on to the ball too long. That's
yeah. I saw a few where like a guy was started from like at least 20 yards from him and just started closing in, and he literally just stood there.
Yep. And it's not even like the Patriots defense is like ridiculously good though. Like they're missing a lot of their key parts too. And yet they were still able to get home and sack him a lot. Like he was inaccurate. They just looked disorganized, and like they were booing them like into the like halfway through the second quarter. It's the vibes aren't good in Chicago at all.
I mean, no, you drafted a fucking overrated college quarterback that lost how many games, but he's allegedly supposed to be this gifted god, but he's not.
Remember when it was rumored that he wanted part ownership of a team or whoever he had drafted to? What? Oh my god! That I remember that recently. I was like, "Yo, that's dumb." Oh god. Anyway, yeah. So as for the Pats, it's so fun to watch Drake May. I
that's wild to say when you have like 3 wins.
I know. Like he gets me going though. Like it's just so fun to have something like hopeful. Like I had that initially with Mac Jones, like his rookie year, because they made the playoffs that year. They were winning games.
Go ahead, Justin. I want you to explain to me what hopeful feels like. Explain it.
You'll get there sometimes.
I want to know what it's like.
Okay. Let me just describe it to you. So I can't tell you how many times I've watched Drake May's first touchdown pass to Kayshon Boutte. Like, dude, yeah, I don't know. I've gone back and forth. It's either Boutte or Booty. The broadcast goes back and forth. Regardless, I've watched his first touchdown pass so many times because it was right down the sideline. He arced it up, dropped it in the bucket, and it was just beautiful. And I was just like, oh my god, if I get to watch this for the next 15 years, oh my god, this is amazing. And anytime he has like a good play, I'm like, dude, this guy's got it. Okay. And I was just saying to Cassie before, I was watching like the mic'd up front like they mic'd up Drake May, and I watched the whole thing, and I haven't watched those forever with the Patriots. So I'm like, yo, we're so back. He's got me watching.
We're so back.
Parts from fucking Drake May. Like, we're so back, man. Which is tough to say with a 3-win fucking team. But, yeah, he's great. I'm very happy with him. He did have a really terrible interception, granted.
I mean, as a rookie, get it out now.
Exactly.
Get it all out now.
They still don't really have any weapons, right? They have guys who can get open, but it's
having guys that can versus do is a big difference.
You're right. So, like, I think their best wide receivers are Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte, whatever you want to call him.
Well, if your best wide receiver's last name is Booty, then you're in trouble.
Just call him Cheeks.
Kayshon Cheeks. I like that name. That's good. But with this, another kind of funny thing about Cheeks is
Why is that a segue?
Hold up, wait a minute.
It kind of flows off the tongue.
This is about the player. He had a gambling scandal, I guess, last offseason where he bet like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something and like lost everything. So no one even knew he was going to be on the team this year. So thankfully that got sorted out. He is on the team.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And so it's one thing or the other, man. But yeah, good win for them. I still would like the offense to play a little bit better. Even though I'm praising Drake May, they gotta finish it in the red zone. It's good to have Joey Sly who can kick the piss out of the ball. But progress. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I would. If it were me, I'd fucking take anything right now.
Again, you'll get there, Walter. Maybe you'll have Shadur Sanders next year if they stick with the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd survive that. I don't know. All right, let's go on to our picks for next week. I gotta get the fucking schedule up here. Nope, not what I wanted. Week 11 over. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, this is starts to be the time where I start to get a little depressed because it's season's getting there,
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Commanders at Eagles.
This one I had some troubles with picking because, as we said earlier, the Eagles aren't as good as their record.
Yep.
I think I am still going to go Eagles, though. I know, like we said, Daniels hasn't been playing the best, as his early season self, and it's a hostile environment in Philly. So I'm just going to go with them, but I'm not very confident.
Okay, Nick.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Washington. I feel like the loss they just had against Pittsburgh was really close, really well played. And Pittsburgh's turning out to be a pretty legit team. I'm kind of surprised by it. They're coming together, so I think they'll rebound.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that game either. Like they're actually like much better than I thought they would. Russell Wilson is actually kind of getting back into form.
Well, that's what happens when Mike Tomlin is your coach.
That's true. And I got to say this too. Mike Williams, he had a beautiful catch, like a Russell freaking rainbow into his mitts, and I'm kind of happy for him after Rodgers called him out on the Jets and said he ran the wrong route, even though he was like 2 feet to the left or whatever the hell happened.
We're not even going to go down that Rodgers road right now.
Yeah, we've touched on him enough.
He's fucking cooked.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going with the Commanders. I think this is a statement game for Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
And I'm going to go one up. I think it's more than one possession game.
Ooh. Okay.
Next one is Ravens at Steelers.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I with this one too, I had trouble picking. I am going to go Ravens for basically what we talked about earlier with Lamar and Derek.
I don't think the Steelers are quite there yet.
I think this is like Russell Wilson's third game starting, fourth game.
Although it is in Pittsburgh, so if there is a game to drop, it'll probably be this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still going to go with the Ravens. Though.
Well, I think too the Ravens might have a little extra motivation because like they're not first in the division right now, right?
Yeah,
and they want to assert their.
This is going to be a big time game for them.
Yeah. I'll also pick the Ravens. I think it's going to be close. Pittsburgh's defense is real good.
Yeah.
This might be game of the week. This might be game. I haven't seen all the games, but this might be game of the week. Jaguars at Lions. You guys sure?
Yeah.
Well, okay, wait. Hold on. Is Mac Jones playing?
I don't know.
Lions either way.
All right. Rams at Patriots.
Pains me after I just puff my chest with Drake May, but I'm gonna go Rams.
Yo, that is so fun.
I know. I'm excited for the future, not the now. I guess
not the now.
Yeah, I think.
But Justin, you're watching clips again.
I know. I am, and I'm excited about it. But I don't know. I got a little excited after their win against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that they're still a very bad football team overall.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
I feel like the difference maker is McVay versus Mayo.
You got to ride the highs when you get them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Nick,
yeah, I'll also take Rams, but a loss for the Patriots wouldn't be. You might hate this, Justin, but it wouldn't be bad. It might even be good.
See, that's what's weird about this.
Nope, absolutely not. Not happening. The Giants own it. We're moving on. Listen, Giants, it's Giants spot, and there's a lot.
I don't want the first overall pick.
That's great. You're not having it.
Exactly.
You're not getting it.
My point though is it's weird that it's like, oh, I'm very happy when they win, but I should also be happy when they lose. Like it's
a win-win. The last thing you want is a mediocre pick. Mediocre?
We mediocre so much, and I've been wanting to blurt that out throughout this whole podcast. Mediocre.
Oh shit! Yo, game of the year. Ready? Next pick is game of the year. Browns at Saints.
Ooh.
It's the toilet bowl.
This one's actually hard to pick, to be honest.
Dog, I don't even know, man.
I'll give you this. New Orleans is favorite by 1.5 points.
It's a Jameis revenge game because he played for the Saints.
Honestly, I'd bet for Jameis in that situation because he would just win a stupid game like that.
I am gonna go Saints because 1, they are home, and 2, new coach theory. They got a new coach last week. They won, so maybe they'll ride the high again.
I agree with Justin on everything. I'm also going Saints.
I'm gonna go Browns.
Okay.
I get that there's a new coach, but you are also 8-9 games into the season. You are who you are. I mean, and who they are is 3-7. So
yeah. Remember when they were 2-0? What a time to be alive, huh? And they blew out
putting up 60 points a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one is another kind of tough one. Colts at Jets.
I think both teams were a dumpster fire, but I feel like
which one is a little bit less of a dumpster fire?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think the flames are starting to kindle.
Problem is our boy Flacco. He's been on the decline.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I don't like either team. I
said that and I was like, it's the fucking Jets. I'm picking the Colts.
I'm gonna go Jets. It's home. I don't know. That's all I got.
I'm going Colts.
I mean, I bet as bad as the Colts are in disarray, I mean, there's no excuse for the Jets to be fucking 3-7 right now. None. I think it's far worse when you're 3-7 with all this talent and supposed to be in the playoffs.
100%.
Yeah, it's just like
I saw like a meme talking about how the Jets have their highest expectations in the past 25 years. The Patriots have their lowest expectations in the past 25 years, and yet they're the same record.
I've seen that. It's the Office meme. They're shaking hands.
Yes,
that
exactly.
one.
Yeah.
All right, next game is Vikings at Titans.
Sam Darnold coming back down to earth. He's not
Well,
playing too great.
Well, I mean, everybody kind of has their. It's a long season, dude. It's a long season.
I know. I'm still gonna go Vikings, so I think the Titans are ass.
Yeah, I'm also going Vikings.
Yeah, I don't know how you would really go otherwise, to be honest. Raiders at Dolphins.
I'm gonna go Dolphins, even though Tua didn't learn his lesson and led with his head while he was trying to tackle.
You serious?
Yes, I think he threw a pick and he led with his head.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm also going Finns. I think they got it.
Depends how quick that CTE sets in. I might pick the Raiders. I'll pick the Dolphins. I don't feel great about it, though, to be honest. I don't. I feel like they're a disaster, particularly Tua is a disaster waiting to happen, quite literally.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill also has not played well this year. I think he has only one game of over 100 yards receiving.
Yikes.
Yeah, not great.
Packers at Bears.
Packers.
Yeah, Packers.
I challenge them to get double-digit sacks this week. I think they could do it.
The next game is Falcons at Broncos.
I am going to go Broncos. I am surprised.
I'm kind of hopping on this Bo Nix train.
Yeah. I mean, it works. You know, it's helpful when you're a 50-year-old rookie like he is. You know, or 20, whatever the hell he is, 26, 27. But I kind of agree though. I can't say that I'm surprised that the Broncos are in this situation because with their dumpster fire last year, where the vibes were not good in the locker room, they still went 7-10.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm kind of getting behind them a little bit.
Yeah, no, the Broncos to me are they remind me of the Steelers in some ways about being resilient, where they just win games. It's like I don't know how they did it, but they win games. So for that reason, I'm taking them over the Falcons.
Good coaching with both of them. You got Sean Payton, you got Mike Tomlin, two great coaches.
Yeah.
You know, past 4 decades.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Broncos too. I don't know what the Falcons are. At least with the Broncos, I can say, all right, they're a team that's trying to turn it around with a rookie quarterback. They don't quite have their identity yet. They need a few more things. Falcons, I don't know what they are. One time they look like, oh, this could be a playoff team, and the next it's like, wow, this is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they're way too up and down for me. So I think the Broncos is a safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks at 49ers.
Niners.
Yep, I'm going to go Niners too.
Yeah, that's all around. I felt like that was going to happen. Chiefs at Bills.
I'm gonna shock the world. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go.
He's gonna do it again.
I'm
How
not
many
going
times do I have
Chiefs.
to teach you this lesson, old man?
Dude, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of them winning these goddamn games. Like they're 9-0, but in like the most unimpressive fashion. They're not blowing out like you would expect.
But isn't it impressive because of that fashion, though?
I guess, but like it's just like how much longer can you keep doing this? Like they win these games by literal like toes. Remember like with Isaiah Likely just being on the white line with that last minute touchdown or non-touchdown, I guess. Man, they can't keep getting away with it, right? Like,
I mean, we said that 3 weeks ago, and here we are. So,
fuck, man. But they're at Buffalo. Buffalo's going to have a chip on their shoulder.
Bro, you know what's bad? You're currently trying to talk yourself into it.
I am. I know.
You're literally live. You're talking yourself into it.
At some point. They are not going to run the slate. There's just no way. There's no way.
See, this isn't you talking to us. This is you talking to you for your pick.
I hate them so much. I'm going Bills. I'm doing it.
All right. Nick, do you dare?
It is tempting. Justin makes a compelling argument, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not just talking to me. I'm talking to him too.
No. He's kind of convinced me, low key. I've been sitting here like marinating and thinking, like, oh yeah, maybe the Bills, but I'm gonna go Chiefs.
All right.
I can't bet against them. I feel stupid.
Yeah, I gotta say, when a team is this, like how they're playing, and they're still 9-0 in the NFL, I will not go against them until they lose. So I'm gonna go Chiefs. And on top of it, after all of this, the Bills are only a 2.5-point favorite. So mark me down for the Chiefs.
Well, got it, guys. Cool. I hope I'm right. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but
Bengals at Chargers.
This one's tough for me. Like, the Bengals can't buy a win. I feel like they're a better team than the Chargers, at least based on talent, but the record doesn't say so.
Joe Burrow alone should be enough, but I got a weird feeling it's not.
I feel like it's not too. I am gonna go the Chargers. I'm not super confident in it, but it's just I think the Bengals are just having that year from hell, really.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go Chargers as well, just because they're at home. I think.
Okay. For me, we said a lot this year for like other games. Like, this is kind of it for a team, and like I think this has got to be like the point where you're either going to put your foot down and say we're turning it around, or we're kind of going to go downhill from here. I think this is officially at that point of the season for them. I mean, you're pretty much halfway. You're halfway through. You're 4-6. You can go 3 games behind. You got to deal with 2 very good teams in your division. For that reason and the must-win factor to keep them at least hanging on by a thread, I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Okay, I respect it. I totally agree with you. Like this, it's kind of win or go home.
Yeah,
you know,
this is kind of it for them. This is like their last shot of redeeming the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finish up with a Texans-Cowboys game.
The battle for Texas. Dak Prescott's not playing, so should I just say that? I'm just kidding. Dallas sucks. They're terrible. I'm going with the Texans. I'm surprised I haven't fired Mike McCarthy yet.
Yeah, but I do agree with the hesitation, man. I'm not into something isn't working after 1 or 2, maybe 3 years, and then just keep firing and firing. Look at the Steelers. They committed to one coach, and they've had down years, yes. I mean, they haven't had a losing season since
down
forever.
years. They don't make the playoffs, they're still winning.
But that's my point, though. They want to keep the consistency there.
Huh.
I mean, until which I think we are at the point of the rails are falling off the Cowboys. I think contract-wise, player-wise, coaching-wise, ownership-wise, general manager-wise, because it is the owner that's the general manager.
Yeah,
I think it's really all falling apart, so I'm going to pick the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. It's a shame the Texans are away because I love those jerseys they had.
Oh, yeah.
Their whole
they've upgraded. That might be the greatest uniform upgrade ever almost.
It's so good.
It's in contention. Yeah. It's those red man, the chrome helmet.
Yeah.
Just oh my god, they did such a good job with those.
Yeah, they did. All right, so we're all locked in for the Texans. That is it for our picks.
Now, where are we at, record-wise? Have you counted them?
Not yet. I'm going to wait until I think it said I was actually talking with Erica. I wanted to wait almost right before the Thanksgiving games.
Okay.
And do a big Thanksgiving thing.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So
did you write down our bold predictions from last week?
Did I write down our No, I did not. We did them?
Yeah.
I don't even remember doing them, to be honest.
You're such an amateur, but that's the point. So
it's in the title, so. I I don't even remember what games we picked.
I don't know what I said. That's why somebody wrote it down.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
Anyway, whatever.
All right. Let's before we get into college football, because that's going to be another heavier topic. Let's go really quick into the NBA. We had some talks about the East sucking, and I'm also never going to forgive Justin for getting me into basketball. Oh, the Knicks are good. The Knicks are good, I swear.
Oh.
And now we're sitting here and we're 4-6. And I'm like, dog, this is like putting on the fucking Giants right now.
Hold the phone. All right. Early season, and you're in 6th in the standings. Everything's going to be okay.
6th is not good, Justin.
Dog,
contrary to your belief, 6 is not good.
Let me tell you something. I think either last year or the year before, the Utah Jazz were first in the West for like the first 2 months of the season, or first maybe month and a half, something like that. They ended up winning like under 30 games for the whole season. So it happens where like starts really hot, and then they fall off a cliff.
Oh yeah.
Hold that thought. I just got an idea for the podcast. I need to write it down before I forget.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, we can touch on some of that terrible East standing stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of teams that are expected to be bad, like the Raptors, the Wizards, the Hawks, man. But the teams that are not expected to be where they are right now, Sixers and Bucks. They both have 2 wins. Sixers, I guess you could say they have an excuse where Embiid's out, and now Tyrese Maxey, who I think is the best player on the team, he's also out. And they're kind of just relying on Paul George, who, obviously he's an all-star player, but he's not what he used to be, I don't think.
Right.
And then with the Bucks, I don't know what they can do. Like, Giannis is playing out of his mind. He scored 40 the other night against the Celtics, and they still lost. Yeah. I think you might. I don't want to say you're at the point where you need to blow it up, but if this thing doesn't turn around quickly, then they don't have any moves. They don't have any picks. They kind of just went all in on Dame Lillard,
and he has not performed.
No, he's up in there in age. Like he's in his. I mean, it's early 30s, but with a small guy like that makes a big difference. And he's not the same player that he was, flat out. And Giannis is I think he's a loyal player, but I think he's a very win-oriented player. And if they're not winning, I don't know if he's going to want to stay there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just funny to me that it's now Doc Rivers' current team and Doc Rivers' former team just sitting in the basement.
Coincidence? I think not. Yeah.
And they got Darvin Ham from the Lakers sitting in Milwaukee now, so it's like they got all the bad.
They got all the bad. Yeah, definitely, yeah. I feel like that's probably the biggest storyline from this early part of the season. Just with how bad the Bucks are, they really just have no answers. So. What else is going on with the NBA? Celtics are still riding pretty good, 9-2. I think they might be losing right now.
Yeah, they just lost by 1 point. Heat and Pistons are tied 111-111 with 20 seconds left, and the Knicks are winning 78-75.
See, they can be good. The Knicks.
Stop the count.
Another actual storyline too is the Cavaliers. They are still undefeated, still top of the East. They have a lot of talent. They don't really have like a. I feel like Donovan Mitchell is really good. I don't know if he's like the complete alpha that like you can see being like the best player on a championship team, but I just feel like they got talent throughout with Garland, Darius Garland, Mobley, and they probably have a move to make too if they really want to.
Yeah, they're well balanced, and they've beaten some good teams too during this stretch. They're easily, for me, the biggest surprise of this young season, for sure.
Yeah, they can kind of teeter off, I think, as time goes on. But another surprising team actually, the Warriors too. They are 8-2 right now, and after losing Klay Thompson. I didn't really think they were going to be. I mean, Clay is on the back half of his career. Like he's not the same player, but just losing that presence in the locker room and that camaraderie that you have with Steph and Draymond, I didn't expect them to be this good, and I think they're relying a lot on Andrew Wiggins, who's playing decent. I think who is it, Kuminga? I think Kuminga's playing good too, but it really just comes down to Steph. He's just still playing out of his mind, and if he goes down, I think that's it for them.
They're toast. Yeah, if they don't have Steph,
they're
done.
Let's see what else. Lakers are returning to form. They're 6-4, so they're going down the standings. I know I mentioned them earlier. They were pretty good. The Mavericks, they're not in the playoffs right now. They're at 5-5.
Suns are pretty good. They're 8-2. I think.
Suns are still they're still kicking. Yeah, they're at 8-2. I think we talked about them a little bit last week. I feel like I saw. Let me check this actually, because I thought I saw something about Kevin Durant. I told you last week that wait for the inevitable Kevin Durant injury. Whether it's just he's got to be out for a little bit or not. But, yep, left calf strain. He's out at least 2 weeks. What'd I tell you? He's.
I didn't even know, bro.
Yep.
I didn't even know bro had calves. To be honest, he just looks like bone.
He does. He also has a very big foot. If you didn't know, this isn't like.
I don't know where you're going with this, Justin, but I don't.
All right, it's more of a relay or a segue into story time. So, well, I don't know if you know about this, Nick. You might, but in the playoffs, 3-4 years ago, I think, against the Bucks. So this is the year that the Bucks won the championship, and the Knicks, or excuse me, the Nets and the Bucks played in the second round. It was Game 7 in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant hits a shot to, I believe, take the lead. He hits a 3-point shot to take the lead. They review it. His big-ass toe was on the line, and it was over 2. So it goes to over, and I'm pretty sure it might have been a buzzer beater, or it might have been there was point-something seconds left. But it goes to overtime, and the Bucks eventually win. So if his foot wasn't so ginormous, history changes where maybe the Bucks don't win a championship. Maybe they break up like Giannis and that whole core soon. Maybe, and this is when the Kyrie and Harden and KD, they were all on the net. So maybe that stays together. So it's really like a sliding doors moment where, you don't know what the league is like now.
One toe changed all of the NBA history in the East right there.
Honestly, no, it's crazy, right?
It's nuts.
So it's not necessarily a weird comment. Well, I promise you. Yeah, so that's I guess pretty much all I have NBA wise. The NBA Cup, I guess they're calling it now the in-season tournament. I think that's starting up today. I want to say it's played Tuesdays and Fridays, the games for it, and so the Celtics just lost their first one with the Hawks. So that'll be something to kind of monitor as we go along with this early part of the season. But that's all I got.
Alrighty, Nick, do we have any NHL stuff? I got to be honest, I've been a little bit busy at night, so I haven't really been locked in onto these sports that are more like every day.
There's not much big news going on right now, so I was just going to do a short notice segment where I want to talk about 3 teams that are great, 3 teams that are booty cheeks. I'm just going to say the biggest surprise is Washington right now. They're 10-4. That's pretty good. Winnipeg, look, it's great to be a Jets fan in the NHL. You took the Winnipeg Jets roster and showed it to my eyeballs before the season began. I would say this team is the definition of mid, but they are now 14-1. That is good for the most wins in NHL history in the first 15 games.
Wow.
They are having a Vezina caliber season from their goaltender. They're getting scoring all throughout the lineup. They're earning comeback wins. They're remarkable. So, yeah, good time to be a Jets fan.
Yeah. It's not in the NFL.
Change sports.
Third good team is Minnesota. Quite a few weeks ago, we talked about Kaprizov, a star that's being slept on. He's on Minnesota. He's having a fantastic season. Might be MVP caliber. So they're 10-2 and 3 for overtime losses. 3 booty cheeks teams that should be good. The Predators, what a disappointment. They got Steven Stamkos from the Lightning, the captain, former goal-scoring leader in the NHL. Yeah, they suck. Easy way to say it. The Oilers are sitting at 500. They're 7-7-1.
Yeesh.
Not really what you want to see.
Yeah.
And this one is surprising to me. The Pittsburgh Penguins with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, they're getting up there, but they're 6-9-2.
You said Sidney Crybaby wrong.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Never thought I'd see a day where the Penguins are not good, but they are not good.
They just made a trade today, I think. Lars Eller? That name sounds familiar. He got traded away from them, right?
Yeah, he got traded to the Caps where he came from to Pittsburgh. So they basically just did an Uno reverse card and sent him back. No, we don't want that guy. Get him out of here.
Sent back to returner.
Yeah, they paid draft picks for it too. So
I think my biggest surprise, to be honest, is Washington. Just because, like, if you were watching the playoffs last year, they couldn't do anything. They were just spamming Ovechkin. I remember. Nick, we were talking on the phone or something like that, and I think it might have been an overtime game. I'm not kidding you. It was literally like, get the puck to Ovechkin at all cost, just so he can rip him and hopefully get one. That's all it was. So the turnaround is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to be way worse, but 10-4 is a great start. I feel like they might regress to the mean a little bit, but I'm not confident in that. It's nuts to me. Right now, they're 1 point ahead of the Rangers in the standings.
Wow. Really?
Shocker.
Yeah.
Rangers are going to blow it all again.
Oh, man.
To your point about the Capitals, Nick, Ovechkin has 10 goals this year, and the guy is 39. Like he's an ageless wonder. Like he's still playing at such a high level. And I know Walt mentioned like he was basically their whole offense in the playoffs last year, but yeah, he's still playing like really, really well. And I you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's inching towards Gretzky's goal record too.
Yeah,
he
is. You got a great point, Justin. He's probably the entire reason that their season has turned around so fast, because without him scoring, I don't know what they have.
Yeah.
And he's now within, I think the number is like 33 goals of the record. So
yeah.
If he continues this pace, he could get it this season at the very end, which is wild.
Yeah, and he's been playing since 2005. Like that's crazy that he's still at this high. I mean that's just kind of how hockey is. Like I know Jaromir Jagr's. I don't know if he's still playing or not, but he was in his 50s.
He's playing in some other league. We talked about that one of the first episodes.
Yeah, he's still kicking it, right? So that's. I mean, I love Ovechkin. I think he's such a cool guy. I don't know if he still has it. He's like missing his two front teeth, or they were like chipped. Or whatever. It's just like such a hockey guy, right?
Yeah, he still got him missing.
Yeah. So I have one note on the NHL that I wanted to mention, because I've been trying to watch the Bruins more, even though they are infuriating to watch, and they're losing right now to the Blues 2-0. Great.
Ooh, 2019 matchup.
Why'd you have to remind me, Nick? But like I watched mainly the Bruins Senators game. So congrats on the win, Nick. Also,
very rare.
Go fuck yourself. Just kidding. But there's just a recurring theme that I noticed with the Bruins. They don't shoot the puck at all, right? So in that game, I think they were outshot. I want to say like 23-15, and they didn't have a shot on net for over 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The
third period.
Yeah, and it just blows my mind that they can't even get a shot on net. Like I'd watched one of their power plays, and it was basically just, I think it was McAvoy and Marchand just passing back and forth. It's just like someone just throw it on net, like just like get the goalie working. I don't know, like it doesn't make any sense to me. And this is something that I noticed last year too, in their playoff series with the Panthers. If they were outshot like by double, there was no chance they were winning. Like when they were about even or so, then they had a better chance of winning. Obviously, the Panthers wanted to win the cup, so tough team to play anyway. But I just don't understand like what they're trying to do. You're looking for like just the perfect shot, because you're it's sometimes it just happens. Like you just have like a juicy rebound, and you're able to like put one back. Like just freaking, just pepper the goalie. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's like a mindset where okay, if we get this goalie like in a groove and he gets his confidence and we just keep shooting on him, he's just gonna keep saving him. But in my mind, just like get him working. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think they might be suffering a little bit from Ovechkinitis of last year, definitely not this year, where I think, look, the Bruins have a lot of talented shooters. Marchand's good. Pasternak is a sniper and a half. McAvoy is an elite defenseman.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're trying to find that perfect shot, and they might be trying to load up, I say Ovechkinitis, they might be trying to load up Pasternak, especially on the power play. They're always looking for him, and if they can't get that pass, those two are just passing back and forth looking for Pasta. They don't see him. You just got to you need some volume is what you need.
Right. And like they do have like other guys that can at least do something, like Charlie Coyle. Like he's a solid player, right?
Zacha.
Pavel Zacha too. Yeah. So they have other guys.
Honestly, with teams like that, I feel like a quick maybe shake up in lines could spice things up a little bit for them.
Yeah.
Just to try something new and get a little spark going. I mean, that's probably what I would do. If there's really no reason why you're stinking, to me at that point, I would just start trying everything I could, which is starting with changing lines a little bit, see what other combinations you can get out on the ice and see if that works.
Yeah, they just have, I think they just have too much talent to be where they're at right now. Like I know they're not the most talented team in the league, but it should not be this tough. I don't know. Like,
think about it too, though. Like you mentioned the Bruins with the Panthers last year in the playoffs. The Rangers had a brutal time with them too. Like there was one game, Shesterkin had like over 100 shots thrown at him,
right?
And the Rangers might have had like 30.
Yeah,
and
but clearly it worked for the Panthers, right? Just like
but the only difference is the Rangers somehow would still win those games. Some of them weren't, because like that wasn't the only series they were outshot. They're outshot almost in every series. So I'm just saying, like, maybe because the talent I feel like with the Bruins and the Rangers is kind of similar, but a little bit different just because age wise, I think the Rangers might be a little bit younger.
Yeah, they definitely are.
So like I said, maybe a quick shakeup or something like that. Just try it.
Yeah, you just got to do something. Because with this, I mean, like the core is pretty much gone. Like Bergeron, Krejci, all of them. It's pretty much just Marchand. Like you got to figure something out. You just paid Swayman. Like you got your goalie in place. Do something in front of them they still have this window where they can at least make the playoffs and make a run. Because I feel like hockey more than any other sport, like. Yes, they're recently it's been like the dominant teams, but like you absolutely could get hot and make a run.
Yeah.
You just got to figure it out.
I think good news for Boston too is they'll revert back to what they were once their goaltending gets settled in. Swayman in his last 7 games is like 2-5 and .89 save percentage.
Yeah,
but he'll get there.
That's partially why I watched, because like I keep seeing him lose, and I'm just like, okay, is it him? Because like he didn't have training camp, he didn't have the preseason. Like, is he still just like getting into form, or is it like the skaters in front of him? And I just felt like with what I watched, it was more so the skaters. But I mean, you know, he's probably got to get into it too more.
I just honestly, like Nick mentioned, the 15 or 14-1 start or whatever. I'd much rather start slow and then just increasingly pick it up as the season goes, because it's always those teams that start getting hot like towards the end of the season that are really the ones like you got to worry about.
Yeah, and there's been so many seasons where the Bruins, like during the middle of the season, they get super hot, like they go on a double-digit win streak, and like they look like world beaters. Once it gets playoff time, then they don't. I feel
like the NHL has like 4 seasons, like the first month or so of the season, then like around like all-star type deal, and then after that to the playoffs, and then the playoffs are a whole nother season in themselves. So I feel like it's just 4 seasons that like you just got to try your best to get hot when you can.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Anything else on the NHL?
That's all I got.
All right. Let's, as they say, NHL. Winnipeg just beat the Rangers 6-3. Moving on from the NHL.
Great time to be a Jets fan, right?
Great time.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. All right. College football. Justin. Let's just start with. I don't really know where I want to start here, to be honest.
I can get my thoughts on the Bucks out of the way if you want.
Yeah, start there because the one game we thought that was going to be close wasn't close.
Right. Yeah. So Bucks rolled again, 45-0. So much so that Gus Johnson looked like he was, or sounded like he was calling a broadcast from a funeral. Like he just did not have the energy at all. I don't know what was up with that, but yeah, they laid the smackdown on Purdue. The defense played fantastic, really held them in check. They're beating the teams that they should with the lesser records and doing it in convincing fashion, right? So they have Northwestern next week at Wrigley Field. Interesting kind of foil to that one. So hopefully they continue to lay the smackdown, and this is all in prep. And hopefully it's not looking ahead to Indiana. My next point is, hopefully it's a reaffirming how good they are game against Northwestern and playing their best and kind of getting ready for Indiana. One thing that I wanted to mention too, which has been a big topic on Buckeye Twitter, is Will Howard and his lack of Heisman love. So he has, I don't even know if he's probably like lower part of the top 10. No, he's probably not even in the top 10 Heisman odds wise.
I thought I saw he was 12th.
Okay, there you go. He has basically the same amount of touchdowns, same amount of passing yards as Dylan Gabriel.
Same interceptions too.
Yes, with one less game played.
Yeah.
And he's not nearly getting the same amount of love as Gabriel. And I don't really know where that's coming from. I think despite the loss against Oregon, I think that they've been the more dominant team. Like Oregon really hasn't laid the spec down consistently. I feel like yes, they win these games, but it's not like it's against Maryland. Like they were really close at half, and it's like what's going on here, right? So I don't think Gabriel's going to win it. I don't think Howard would win it either. But that's just something that's kind of been talked about a lot recently, because I think, like we talked about MVP earlier for the NFL, Heisman, I feel like more than anything is so narrative driven too.
Yeah, I got to say, if there's a year where a quarterback isn't going to win the Heisman, it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
Because there's Travis Hunter and there's also Ashton Genty, so it's a possibility. But I couldn't really speak to why there's such a differential in Heisman. Maybe because Ohio State hasn't really been like a popular topic the last 3 years because of what's been going on with Michigan and the bad talk about Day and all that other stuff. It's just been very negative towards Ohio State for whatever reason. I'm not sure. It was like, I think they were, beating up Michigan and, pretty much winning the Big Ten every year. It kind of just became fun to hate them kind of thing. So I think it's just kind of like residual, some of that. It's kind of just like Ryan Day's just got to go out and I think got to prove it.
Yeah.
And they're playing Indiana next week, right?
No, they play Northwestern and then Indiana.
Yeah, so I think once they hit that Indiana game, that's got to be their statement.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just the loss that hangs over his head so much. That could be it. I think maybe part of it too, at least with Dylan Gabriel, is like maybe people are trying to give him his flowers for the record he broke with the most touchdowns ever in college football, like history, like passing wise. He's played 6 years.
Yeah, he's played 6 years.
How do we allow this?
I think with three different teams.
UCF, Oklahoma, and now Oregon.
Yeah.
There was only 1 year where he was injured. I don't know where he got this other year of eligibility from.
Is everyone from COVID year gone?
I mean, he played in 2019, but he played in 2020 though.
It doesn't matter. Everyone in 2020 got another extra year for eligibility.
Yeah, so
that's why you're seeing so much right now.
Massive asterisk next to his name, like with that record. I think that's just a bunch of hooey. I mean, credit to him, like for playing, like being a starter from freshman year on. But and like looking at his stats, like yes, he's had a year of like 30 or 30 plus touchdowns, but it's not like he had a year of like, what did Joe Burrow have that one year, like 50? You know, like it's not like something like that. It's just like, yeah, he's competent, right? He's all right. And you know, I at least with the Heisman race, it might be that, like what I just said, and also just they're the number one team in the nation right now. So
it's fun to be on the Oregon train right now.
Yeah.
Until they blow it. I promise you, I've watched Oregon countless times, even when they had Mariota. I was so confident that they would blow it, and they always do because it's just kind of like that program type. And I'm not trying to hate on Oregon, but at the same time, like yeah, it's been a while since Ohio State's won, but they've still won one pretty recently. Oregon,
they're consistently in it too.
Oregon literally has 0 national championships throughout their history.
Right.
So I don't understand the favoritism of it. And also they were one quicker slide by a quarterback and a timeout away from probably losing that game too.
I know.
Not to mention they almost dropped a game to Boise State too. So
yeah,
they're very similar to Miami right now.
That's what I was just. You read my mind. Not as much, but yes.
Yeah, similar, but not too similar because Miami was getting away with like actual referee horseshit. But Oregon's taking those punches where like they're hanging on by a thread, and I feel like one more big opponent, which I don't think they have on their schedule yet.
Yeah, they got a cupcake walk the rest of the way.
Once they get to that Big Ten title, I got a feeling they got something come to them because it's either going to probably be Ohio State or Indiana.
Yeah.
And if I were them, I wouldn't want to see Ohio State again after that whole thing. And Indiana right now just looks fucking crazy. So, and their coach is a fucking boss too. So
true. Yeah. As I'm looking through Oregon's schedule, like earlier in the season, they've been putting up like 30 points a game for the most part, and like they're winning by double digits, but like just the eye test doesn't necessarily match up. I think that's a big thing with this. Like you see, like we've been talking about Miami, like you see that they win. Oh yeah, they you know, Cam Howard played great, they won, but you watch them, you're just like, there's something with this that just it doesn't add up, and there's one point where they're gonna drop one, right?
Yeah. I mean, we said about Miami, we were like, we knew it was coming, and it finally came.
Sure enough, it did.
Finally came. But I do have the same feeling with Oregon.
With Miami, I do kind of feel I don't want to say vindicated. I don't know what the proper word is, but like I kind of had a feeling about this Georgia Tech game that they could drop it just after watching Georgia Tech play Florida State, which that doesn't matter anymore because that team is ass cheeks. But just like the way that they played, I was like, that's going to be a tougher one than people think, and sure enough, they couldn't pull it out.
Yeah, no. And losing closer to the end of the season is way worse than taking one at the beginning of the season. So it's going to be interesting. Actually, I think Erica might have sent me the new playoff top 25, which she did. And it looks like they're at 9.
Really?
Yep, but they're seeded at 4th because if they win the ACC, they'll be the 4th spot.
Yeah, SMU ranked number 1 in the ACC right now.
Yo, SMU,
no Mustangs,
fucking dogs, dude.
Yeah,
I would watch out for them. Then you got obviously Ohio State at 2, Texas at 3, Penn State at 4. Like that top 4 is like. I don't know, man. I don't see one team in there that is just like.
You could have said that earlier in the season about Texas, but I think that for the most part they're all flawed in some way.
Yeah.
And,
And you know what? The NILs and stuff like that, I think this is the new normal. I don't think you're ever going to have a clear-cut champion anymore.
I'm trying to think of who the last one was where we're just like convinced from the early part of
Georgia.
You think? Okay, because
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like as far back as like what I mentioned earlier with LSU in that Burrow year.
Georgia, not necessarily the second one, but the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they were incredible. I mean, there was a few years where Alabama was like definitely clear cut for them. A few years. Other than that, though, it's not too clear cut. But no, not at all. Boise's 13. Their only loss is to Oregon by 3 points.
Yep.
And there's a big thing right now so if Boise State wins out, but also Army wins out, there's going to be a little bit of a tussle just because if Army beats Notre Dame, what I was reading and what the committee is going to say is Army's win against Notre Dame is more impressive than Boise State's loss to Oregon.
As it should be.
Yeah, and then Army will end up getting in, and Boise will be left out.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know if it's like a surefire rule or whatever with this new playoff format, but is there only one Group of 5 team allowed in?
That's the interesting part. From the video I watched explaining it, that was kind of getting the vibe. Just because
it's not like a firm yes.
It's not a firm yes, but how many Group of 5 schools are really going to be in that conversation? I say that, but it's like there's 3 in the top 25 right now that are, because it's Boise, Army, and now Tulane's at 25.
Yeah, but just like look at 11 and 12. Georgia, they still have tough games on their schedule. I'm pretty sure we went over that.
Yeah,
exactly. But they
yep.
It's made a Tennessee this week. I forgot exactly. Say they lose another one.
Yeah.
Right. And then Ole Miss too. What if they lose again?
Yeah.
Right. Miami. Say they might win out, and what if they lose the ACC title game? Right. So I feel like, like it's. I'm trying to say. It's not a given that these Group of 5 schools are less than. Right. But at what point are we going to get rid of, and it might be impossible, get rid of like the SEC, the Big Ten? I guess those 2 conferences, the favoritism with them.
Yeah.
I think the Big Ten, I saw some story, I didn't look at I saw some story that the SEC and Big Ten were talking with the playoff committee about guaranteeing at least 4 teams from each conference.
That won't happen because then that'll kill the point of the 12-team playoff.
Agreed, right.
And then people are going to say, all right, now we got to go to 16 or 24 or something like that.
Yeah. So I hope that we can get 2 of them in, especially if they're deserving. At like if say Boise State and Army went out, they both should be able to, and winning their conferences too. They both should be allowed. If say for instance, like it was Boise State was ranked, but they had like two losses or 3 losses and won their conference, then it's a different conversation. But if they have 1 loss, if Army has no losses, then like, you know what I mean? And the 1 loss to Oregon too for Boise State. Like I don't think it'll happen, but
no,
it's just something that I wish the,
I think what would also help is if they start measuring teams based off of this like same talent level kind of thing. So like let's say you're judging, let's say Georgia and let's say Army, for example, because it's the easiest right now because they're undefeated. So when I say judge accordingly, it's you need to judge Georgia for who they have, the players they have, and their equal opponents. But you need to do the same for Army with their talent and whatever and who they're playing and kind of line that up as well. Because it's very unfair to be like, oh, Georgia has a stronger strength of schedule. It's like, okay, sick. They also have 4 or 5-star athletes.
And Army's doing what they do with like guys that aren't even full-time athletes.
Right. But against equal or even greater than teams too. So they just got to get a rhythm down of finding a proper way to judge between a group of 5 school and a Power 5 school.
Yeah.
Because just because you're a Power 5 school doesn't mean you necessarily deserve to get in. Honestly, I don't think Georgia should be in. They played like shit. Their quarterback looks like shit.
Consistently, like he has like 12 picks over the last 5 games. Something crazy.
He has 12, something like that. I mean, I don't know. Like the only ones I could say in that top like 12 that are like, okay, they definitely should be there right now are Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Indiana, Tennessee, and Miami, just because it's only one loss yet right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, everybody else you can make an argument for or against.
Uh-huh.
Like we don't need to get into Notre Dame again because we all know what happened there.
Yeah.
Alabama, they have 2 losses. They have not looked good throughout a few weeks. Like, so there's an argument for them. Ole Miss also, I don't even know how many losses Ole Miss has.
2.
Okay, 2. So I thought it might have been 3, so it's not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
BYU barely beat whoever they played last week.
Yeah.
Utah by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a measuring stick, and honestly, we talked about Colorado at the beginning of the season in a very negative way, and now they're sitting at 17.
They're doing really good
with only 2 losses, and they're quiet now too.
I know.
So now it's like, fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so let's do this. Out of the, let's say from 13 to 25, who is most likely to sneak in? Do you have it up, or I could read it?
I got it.
Okay.
So are we just not including SMU because they are in the ACC and they would get the automatic bid?
We can include them. We could still include them because they're still in that bottom tier. And obviously, right now, Miami biased is real.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. You said 13 to 25?
Yeah.
I might just lean Boise, like, because they win these games in convincing fashion. Genty, like, it's one thing if Genty was like rushing for, 300 yards one game and then like 70 something the next. No, he's like 150 consistently, right? So I just and then they'd only had that one loss to barely losing to Oregon. I feel like and obviously like ranked 13 out of 25 or 13 in that 13 to 25 spot. They're the one to beat because they're at the top of that part. But that's just who I would go with.
I'm trying to see what kind of looks like. So here we go. They beat Georgia Southern kind of barely, 56-45. They beat Portland State, Washington State, Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV barely, San Diego State, and Nevada. So
who is this? Is this Boise State?
Yeah, this is Boise. So they really do not right now have a
quality win.
Like my only, like, let's say again, you're comparing to Army just because they're undefeated. I'd say if they were undefeated, I'd say that's fine. Mm-hmm. But like one team being undefeated and the other one's not, like, where do you draw the difference?
Yeah, if Army is to win out and beat Notre Dame, they get it. I think.
Oh yeah, Army's got to win out though. I think that's.
You're that confident against Notre Dame? Despite how they played, and obviously Bryson Daly is coming back from the foot infection or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, North Tech Army has like that one game a year where they're kind of always they like take like a slouch game kind of. Usually they lose that kind of game, and there's always one or two every single year. It never fails. It's a tough thing. Is my cam still blocked?
No, you're good.
Okay. It's just a tough season for them. So they usually always have like that one or two games that they blow.
Mm-hmm.
I think this past weekend was kind of some of that.
They still won.
Yeah, they still won. The offense was just kind of flat, even though they had one drive where it was 21 plays over
almost 15 minutes.
It was almost a whole quarter.
That was insane.
Yeah, so that was nuts. That was good to see, but yeah, it was. I'm not going to judge too much off of that game. I think there was also a lot of energy from the previous week, kind of looming a little bit.
Was it a look ahead game to Notre Dame?
I don't think so because they have the bye week this week.
Oh, okay.
But I wouldn't say I'm totally confident against Notre Dame. Like historically, Army has not been good against Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this year is a little bit different though, just because like one, Northern Illinois showed it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Two, Navy showed it was possible to move the ball. You just can't turn it over. Yeah, so I'm not saying like, oh fuck yeah, we got this. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm definitely feeling better than usual when Army plays Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they can just control the ball and not turn it over, I think there's a good shot. I've seen Army go into places much more hostile and competitive than Notre Dame.
Yep.
And be fine. So I have no reason to think otherwise this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if they go undefeated and they don't get into the playoffs, there's a certain snub against the fucking academies, which is not going to get fixed, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, like, this is a good test year to see how this 12-team thing works with the one group of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see how it goes, but I'm not very trusting of the committee, to be honest.
Yep. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I'm not even gonna waste my time talking about the LSU Alabama game.
No, that was.
I'm not even gonna waste my time with that. That was bad.
Yep, and Georgia had, like you said earlier, they lost. They had a bad showing of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Just can't play quarterback anymore for some reason.
Really quick before we wrap up, do you have next week's college football schedule up?
I do.
Is there any games that pop out?
Let's see here. I mean, Missouri, South Carolina. That's a ranked matchup. Oh, Tennessee, Georgia. That's the biggest one, probably.
Oh shit! I wanted to bring this up really quick.
Yeah.
Did you see? So, Coach of the Year awards are starting to come like out and like rumored of who's going to win. Apparently, right now, Shane Beamer has more votes than the Vanderbilt coach.
Who is Shane Beamer? Who's he coach?
South Carolina.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Like, yeah, I'm like, are you fucking serious, dude?
Has more votes than Vanderbilt?
Yeah, it has to be Vanderbilt's coach.
How about Indiana coach?
I mean, it's conference awards.
Oh, okay. So,
conference.
Yeah. No, that's stupid.
Ridiculous.
No,
I mean, yeah, whatever. But I digress. Any standout games?
Georgia, Tennessee would be the one. Georgia's at home, favored by 10. I could see them winning. I don't know if I could see them dropping 2 in a row. Would I be surprised? No, because Carson Beck. It's crazy that this guy was once considered like to be like maybe a top 10 draft pick quarterback wise, but he's just regressed an insane amount. Like it's to the point where like, if he throws another 2 interceptions, do they have to bench him? Because like he is just not. He just can't do it right now. I don't know what it is.
I can't even say it's a team around them either. It's fucking Georgia. Like,
I know.
you have talent around you.
Athletes all around you, right?
I think I got a feeling Tennessee's going to win this. If they don't, I think it's their defense that blows it. Because their defense, I don't think, has been too good this year.
Let's see. Well, points per game allowed, they're fifth at 12.6. Tennessee. Yards per game allowed, fifth, 271. Yeah, but this is a really tough one to pick, honestly.
Well, I'm just gonna pick Tennessee and roll with it. That's what I'm doing.
I don't fault you for that. The other one that I guess I'm partially keeping my eye on because I want Oregon to lose is just they're playing at Wisconsin. Night game. I don't know. Could get a little freaky. Wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, maybe.
So, but I feel like they'll probably win that one too. I think that's pretty much it though. That's the Georgia Tennessee's the big hitter this weekend.
All right. Before we wrap up, do we have any weekend excitements for sports? Anyone have any? I'm pretty much off this week. Army's not playing, and I don't give a fuck what the Giants do. I honestly, at this point, I just hope they keep losing so we can get a fucking quarterback. But
they're still locked into that number one right now.
Yeah. So
keep it up.
I don't really have much going on.
I got Ohio State Northwestern at Wrigley Field, like I said. Hopefully they lay the smackdown. Pats and Rams. Get to watch more Drake May. Excited for that. I don't know when the Celtics are playing the Raptors this weekend, so that should be an easy win, fingers crossed. And then I kind of don't give a fuck about the Bruins right now because they suck so bad.
Seems about right.
One other big thing actually is, and this isn't like a game necessarily, but the Juan Soto sweepstakes have ratcheted up, and apparently the Red Sox are one of 4 teams that are having meetings with him. So I know that they need to cough up the money, this is a thing that's on like Red Sox Twitter is they are the kings of have expressed interest in X player, and then they never even come close to signing him. So like they do it to the point where like they have like a banner like coming down from the Green Monster, and then it goes, it says expressed interest in. It's like, yes, that's what we hang our banners on these days. So it's like, oh, we almost got this guy, but he didn't come. We almost got him. I don't think he'll end up coming, but I got my fingers crossed.
Nick,
I don't really have my Ottawa Senators just demolished the Leafs in the Battle of Ontario. That feels pretty good.
Without Austin Matthews, I saw that he's out.
Well, yeah. A win's a win. We take what we can get.
No, but I'm saying that who cares? Fuck the Leafs. But
it's the Leafs.
They don't have Austin Matthews.
Fuck the Leafs. But no, personally, I have back-to-back hockey games this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, so I'm feeling pretty pumped up.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now, what position do you play, Nick?
In the lower leagues, I play defense because I can skate backwards. This is going to be back-to-back upper leagues, so I'm going to be forward,
nice,
where I'm less of a liability.
Cool.
Word.
All right, I think that is it. We'll be back next week for some more fun. Wait, did the Giants play this weekend? I don't remember picking them. I might be off.
Yo, that's ideal for you, man. Hell yeah. Yeah,
that's like going to a beach and fucking having a drink or something. Holy shit.
Yeah, plan something to just enjoy yourself during football season for once, right?
Yeah.
At least pro football season.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see everybody next week.
Later.